Hey y'all, Rick Guy here. Welcome back to another live show. I just want to talk about the Apple Silicon, also known as the original Apple Silicon chip is the M1, but that's just the first of many. And the funny part is, and again, after a few days, and I got the Mac Mini with the M1 on release day, but after only a few days with the Apple Mac Mini M1, it became immediately apparent that it grossly trumps everything. When I say everything, that's everything I've touched. So like my MacBook Pro 16-inch with 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD, the Mac Mini M1 grossly trumps that, both in benchmarks and real-world performance. At least what I do video editing, so no comparison as far as how it performs. Admittedly, the export out of compressor, while running the Mac Mini M1 was slightly slower than the MacBook Pro 16, but the overall fluidity of the editing experience while in Final Cut Pro 10. Happy Sunday, Jake. Happy. Welcome aboard. You got Maya and McKenna and Katie. I bet you do. Yep, happy Sunday. Just getting my Sunday morning walkabout in, trying to burn that fat off. You got it. Yep, Jake, I knew I did. Welcome aboard. Yep, starting back the big fitness reboot. Obviously the pandemic created a little bit of temporary challenges with the workout. I was getting in a good routine, man, in the gym. I was getting my six-pack back, and then pandemic hit and started getting fat again. But at least I'm eating what I want to eat, and that's what matters. So ready for gonna really structure a very thorough workout routine, because you need more than just cardio. And that's a rut that a lot of people get in. They do cardio only, which is good for you. But when you combine cardio with strength training, you get toning, and it also amplifies the cardio, because you're getting, when you're doing strength training, you're ripping your muscles apart, and then they got to heal back. And when they heal back, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a personal trainer, I'm not a any sort of medical professional, but common sense would lead one to believe that if you're working out and you're tearing those muscles apart, when they're healing, that's also putting your body to work. The thing is, if you're active, and this is something I recommend, and that's why this is Irish Guy's Adventure Channel. There's always an adventure, and those are mostly outdoor adventures, because you get the added benefit of of fitness on top of the adventure. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, drones, man. I tell you, a lot of y'all been asking about the Brad having a proper live show later today at all. Bought the new M1. Whoa, let me see him pop that up. Comment flew by there. I bought the new M1 MacBook Pro with 16 gig and 2 terabyte. Waiting to get. Oh man, that's gonna be nice. Brad, I hope you're not disappointed at all, because I can tell you, I got the Mac Mini M1 with 16 gigs, and I only got 1 terabyte. But it's blazing fast. Smokes my MacBook Pro 16 with i9 and 32 gigs. And I also ordered I was torn between the MacBook Pro that you mentioned and the MacBook Air, but actually I got the MacBook Air because my goal is to replace the and yeah, you ought to be excited, man. It's awesome. If it's even half as awesome, or maybe even more awesome than the Mac Mini M1, let's put it this way, man. When we were speculating several months ago, what's Apple Silicon going to do? I was expecting a diluted, power efficient, watered down, just poor performance CPU. But what they've delivered is a CPU that grossly trumps everything. It will be my main computer for next several years, so I'm maxed out on it. Yeah, definitely, dude. Yeah, that was smart. I didn't max out the SSD. I knew that 512 was not going to be enough. 1 terabyte's fine as long as I'm using it in conjunction with a large external hard drive. I got a 14 terabyte traditional hard drive. So my Mac Mini is now my studio computer. My MacBook Air that's coming will be my in the field computer, and it's just the MacBook Air with 16 gigs, which is max memory, and then 1 terabyte SSD. Curiously enough, the Jake says Maya just gave me a face full of her ponytail right in the eye. Ouch, man. Yeah, but I mean it's a beast. So I went with the MacBook Air instead of the MacBook Pro 13 like you did, and I think your Pro, even though they use the same CPU, it may get a little bit better performance because it does have a cooling fan. The MacBook Air does not have a cooling fan. And this sounds really stupid, but I got the MacBook Air instead of the Pro only because, number one, it came in that gold color, and it's a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter. So my MacBook Air will be my in-the-field computer, and then my Mac Mini will be my dedicated desktop computer. So basically the workflow will be, going out to the field, capturing content, editing with MacBook Air, and then returning to the studio, copying that library, Final Cut Pro 10 library that I created in the field, copying that library and putting it on my big 14 terabyte hard drive on my Mac Mini, which is connected to Backblaze cloud backup. So it's going to be the new perfect workflow for me. Barry says, afternoon from Scotland. Hello, man. I had some Scotch whiskey the other day, actually. Scotland's a cool place. Brad says, debating on purchasing the Mavic Air 2 or Mavic Mini 2. Hopefully DJI can release a Mavic 3 Pro. Yeah, if you're waiting for the 3, I would probably hold out because it seems that, yeah, it does, man. Especially I had the Macallan, and then I had some, Macallan, the Glenlivet. Probably somewhat, in Scotland, those are probably some somewhat entry-level whiskeys. Here in the United States, they cost a premium. I mean, it's worth it. I'd rather have, a few drinks of that than spend for something cheap. And, I like quality. I like quality over quantity when it comes to liquor. Yeah, Brad, I think if I was you, I would wait for the Mavic 3 because it sounds like you're really eyeing that one, which is understandable. I have a feeling it's going to be really good. With that being said, the Mavic Mini 2 is awesome. I mean, it's super small, it's super lightweight. Remarkably, it handles wind really well. I mean, I got 15, 20 mile per hour gust. And granted, when I was flying with the wind at the rear of the drone, it accelerated the speed of it. And, if the operator wasn't careful, it increases the stopping distance. So, you need to be aware of that. But other than that, the video stability was rock solid. I've been to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Inverness, and Loch Ness. Cool. Did you see when you were in Loch Ness, did you see the Loch Ness Monster? So that's something I want to find is, I bet that was awesome, man, going over there and seeing the, Jake says, yesterday I got a new military sniper rifle as an addition to my weapon. Very cool. Those are always fun. You can't beat a quality firearm. Man, they're getting so expensive now. That's the problem. Used to be able to go out and get ammo and just go out and have fun. Now you can't. Brad says, we went to the Loch Ness Monster Museum. Oh, very cool. Yeah, Loch Ness Monster, man. That and Bigfoot. Some cool things. Communications. I wonder what kind of communications are down there. Barry says, I'm in Glasgow. Yeah, great stuff. I'd also recommend the Mini 2. Good upgrade from the 1. Yeah, Mini 2 is a huge upgrade from the 1. Number 1, you get 4K. And number 2, even better. And I don't know if if it's the 4K upgrade or the OcuSync, I would put those two equally. Mini 2 is an impressive piece of kit, as they would say. It's got OcuSync upgrade, 4K upgrade, and you've got the really nice controller like the Mavic Air 2 brought to the table. And it's just, yeah, man. Mavic Mini 2, or I shouldn't say Mavic Mini 2, it's the DJI Mini 2. They dropped the word Mavic out of it. Just an incredible thing, man. Super convenient. The only time that I would use, so here's the deal. If, for most anything for social media, DJI Mini 2 is more than ample. It's excellent. It'll do 4K. The 4K looks good. I've been shocked at the type of video quality I've been able to pull off with it. Jake says, I believe that Nessie is real, but there's no proof she exists. Brad says, what are the names of 3 primary shopping streets in Glasgow? If I remember correctly, there's a funny rhyme or joke about them. Yeah, but Mini 2, man, you get 4K, you get USB-C rechargeability, you get the really nice controller where you can put your smartphone on the top. The cool thing about it is that when you put your smartphone on the top of the Mini 2's controller, you get you can keep the case on. Like I use the iPhone 12 Pro. I've got a case on it. It's got plenty of stretch if I wanted to even use a bigger case. My case on my iPhone 12 Pro is the slim fit, but I could fit a much larger case in there. So that was a complaint I had with the original Mini, is that you had those wonky handles on the bottom of the controller and you had to wedge your phone in there. Number one, those things could scratch your phone, which is bad if you trade your iPhones in. And then number two, unless you had a super slim case, most of the time you had to take your iPhone out of the case before you could wedge it in the original DJI Mavic Mini's controller, the bottom of it. So, so just to recap, DJI Mini 2, you're getting 4K, you're getting OcuSync instead of enhanced Wi-Fi. And Barry, anyway, cheers for the videos. I appreciate that, man. Thanks. Hey, thank you for your viewership. Coming in all the way from Scotland, man. That's impressive. I appreciate the support. Jay, you get OcuSync, you get 4K, and you get the improved controller with the, with your smartphone mounted on top. So what else could one want? And the battery life is, real world, from what I've observed, around 30 minutes. Jim, will the Mini 2 work with a smart controller? I have not personally tested it yet. I'll have to research that. Actually, several people have asked, and I haven't tried it. And the only reason is that, honestly, man, the smart controller now, even though it's good, given iPhone's current offerings, like the iPhone 12 Pro, I've found the viewing experience, especially since the Mini 2, you mount your iPhone to the top of the controller. I found that to be a better experience than the DJI Smart Controller. And I like the Smart Controller. I had it for my Mavic 2 Pro. It's nice how it's all integrated, and you didn't have to tie up your phone while you're flying because you've got a dedicated controlling device. Mike says, how does the newest iPhone work in the sunlight? Well, it's funny you asked that, Mike. That's one reason, in response to Jim's question, does Smart Controller work with Mini 2? That's one reason I like using the iPhone 12 Pro. I'm out right now. It's partly cloudy, but for this live stream I'm doing, that's one thing I like about the iPhone 12 Pro. I upgraded from the iPhone XR. I had it. It was because of the good battery life. This thing, man, is very good to see, easy to see, and even stronger sunlight. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I could go back to Smart Controller after using iPhone 12 Pro in conjunction with DJI Mini 2. But I'll have to find out if it's compatible. I just haven't tested it just because I've enjoyed this iPhone 12 Pro so much. Yeah, Xbox is pretty cool, man. The Xbox Series X. Admittedly, I'm not a gamer, so I just don't, I don't have the time to commit to it, and I don't have, what's the word for it? I just don't have the time, man. I mean, I wanted to review it. Am I doing a live show from the studio later? Probably not today, but I should be doing a studio show, I would say for sure Wednesday. So, dude, if you're interested in coming on, the live show, let me know. The only game that I played on the Series X, and they weren't even optimized, was what am I trying to say? The Battlefield 4 old one that I had because I had the Xbox many years ago. So I played that, and surprisingly, it looked better on the Series X than it did on the Xbox One. And the only other game was Grand Theft Auto 5. So I never played an optimized Series X game on the Xbox Series X. Admittedly, I unboxed it, and I'm like, number one, I was surprised I even got one because, like you said, they're sold out everywhere. So I was surprised I got one. I wanted to unbox it, see what it looked like. Say that I've been there, done that, ticked off the box, and then I just hooked some dude up with it. Some dude drove like 3 hours to pick it up, and I'm like, man, I'm a capitalist, man. I'm always about making a buck. That's my MO. Capitalism. But it was, GTA is fun. But so I was just like, dude was like, he was cool as everything. He came down, he had his girlfriend. Couldn't have been 17 years old, 16 or 17. I mean, old enough to drive. But dude drove like 3 hours. He was like a hardcore gamer. And, I had it. I was, me, I'm a businessman. I'm trying to make money. But, I didn't. He showed up, honest person, showed up, drove that far to get it, there with his girlfriend or whatever. And, admittedly, I had it marked up a small amount because I'm a capitalist. But when he showed up, I was just like, dude, dude was, it's cool, everybody's young once, but dude was like a pizza driver, which is cool. It shows initiative, getting out, doing the hustle, making that money at an early age. But he was here with his girlfriend. I'm like, man, I said, number one, you showed up. And I said, that's a long drive. I said, that shows dedication. Number two, you were honest. Number three, you got a job, which is important because so many people don't nowadays. And I'm like, man, I said, I'd mark this up, but I gave the profit back. I just said, look, I said, I got what I wanted out of this. I said, I got my unboxing video. I run a YouTube channel, so I got my unboxing video. I got the, the how to factory reset the Xbox Series X, obviously, because I had to reset it after I tinkered with it for a few hours. And I said, you seem like you really want it. You seem like a good kid. I said, take this. He handed me over all the cash. I counted it out in this public location, so it's not like shady or anything. And so I counted all the cash, gave it back to him. I said, dude, I said, you just drove 3 hours. I said, you obviously want this. I said, your girlfriend obviously wants it too. I said, take this. I gave him his money back. I broke even. I gave him his money back, and I said, dude, I said, take this money, and y'all go have a great dinner before you start playing your Xbox, So that felt good. Sometimes it's not always about making a profit. I'm a capitalist, but it's just, sometimes I think those types of things will propel one further than just, I am greedy, no doubt. I'm very greedy. I'm a capitalist. But, sometimes if you just look at the situation, you read it, and you do something good, sometimes hopefully, good things will come back around. But, so that's, Brad, to answer your question, I don't have the Xbox Series X anymore. So, but I know dude that bought it, he's a happy dude, and so is his girlfriend. So, anyway, it's, games are cool, but, in all reality, if you look at and again, I run multiple concurrent business ventures. YouTube is just one of many. And, when you look at the hours in a day, and then, you factor in, what should you do when you're not working? When you're not working, what should you do? Well, ultimately probably exercise is a good thing. But, I just, looking at everything, I haven't been able to allocate any even small amount of time to gaming. Nothing wrong with gaming. I know a lot of people that are professional gamers that, that make, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just off of playing a game. Unfortunately, when I was a gamer, that was before the, the monetized gaming opportunities existed. So I kind of missed the bus, but I did get on a lot of other ventures, such as this YouTube channel. So, I just want to make sure that I'm not going into an area where Brad says, I'm trying to grow my drone business. Sorry, I popped these back up because I'm trying to grow my drone business. Drone IG account right now has primary goal too, which is why I want the best drones. Debating on getting Sony A6600 or the Sony A7C. Between those two, I would definitely go A7C, and I'll tell you why. A7C is full frame or APS-C. A7C has the flip forward LCD for filming face on video segments if you don't have your film crew. It uses the really nice battery. And you got two color options. I think there's a black and a silver. So I would go A7C. I think that's a more solid investment. That way you're buying full frame Sony FE glass, Sony FE full frame lenses. And if you ever found the business need in the future to upgrade to, say, a Sony A7R series or something like that for the extra resolution for stills, which at A7C should be plenty of resolution for most professional work. But if you ever got into portraiture, for example, and I would go A7C. Barry says, what's the laws like in the U.S.? Well, you got to be very careful, man. There's a lot of, and again, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. I'm not any sort of law enforcement officer. It's a complicated business. Let's just leave it at that. What I would recommend anybody doing, regardless of the country you're in, check with your legal counsel and ask them what the laws, because the laws are constantly changing too. So what's relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow. Let's see. Brad said, are full frame lenses more expensive than mirrorless? Well, a full frame lens is a mirrorless lens. So full frame lens is a mirrorless lens. So they're both the same. So there's a full frame, what's called the Sony FE. If you're looking at Sony mirrorless lenses, Sony FE. What an FE lens is, FE means full frame. So if you're using an FE lens on the A7C, it's going to be, say you got a 24-70 FE, that focal length will be 24-70. If you connect that FE lens to an FE body like the A7C. But if you kick the A7C from full frame mode to APS-C mode, that 24-70 full frame lens will then appear to be more zoomed. So in essence, by going full frame, and you can look online to see the conversion charts, but in essence, by going full frame with the lens and then getting a full frame camera body such as A7C, in essence, what you get whatever the lens focal length is, in this example 24-70, but you can click the A7C to APS-C mode and in essence turn that physical 24-70 FE lens into a more zoomed APS-C. So, going into APS-C mode. So it's just a cool, a cool thing there. For that reason, I would definitely go FE lenses because FEs can also behave as APS-C. APS-C cannot behave as FE. If you put a Sony E lens, not an FE, but an E lens on a full frame body, that lens is only going to do APS-C mode. But FE, you get FE full frame or APS-C. Does that make sense? It's confusing, but I tried to explain it. So that's why I recommend the extra spend. All of my lenses are FE. I've got the Sigma 100 to 400 FE for my long reach. I've got the Sony G Master 16 to 35 FE for my wide angle videos and photos. I've got the Sony G Master 24 to 70 FE for everyday use. 24 for semi-wide, 70 for portraiture. And then I've got the Zeiss Batis 85 millimeter FE for just wicked good portraiture type work. If I'm doing professional, portraits of people, that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, there's, again, I never encourage anyone to overspend for gear, but I think in this scenario, I think full frame would be the way to go. I mean, unless you're strictly just doing casual, you don't think that you'll ever need more higher resolution. You don't think you'll ever need to take it to the next level. In that scenario, just something like an APS-C camera, like you mentioned, the A6600 could be fine. Now, keep in mind, even if you went with that less expensive A6600, if you put an FE lens on it, the FE lens would work on the A6600, but it would only work in APS-C mode. So if you're shopping for these lenses, look at the equivalent, the APS-C equivalent, and that'll tell you, well, if you're using this 24x70 on a full frame Sony camera body, obviously it'll be 24x70. But if you use it on APS-C body or kick your full frame Sony camera into APS-C mode, this is the focal length that it would appear to be. So yeah, if you put that full frame lens on that A6600 APS-C camera body, you would only get the APS-C. Whereas if you put that full frame lens on the A7C, which is the full frame camera body, you could get either the full frame 24 to 70, or you could get the APS-C, whatever that equates to, that has a little bit greater zoom. So for that reason, I guess regardless of the camera body you buy, if you're going Sony, which I would recommend, if you're going Sony, I would definitely only buy the FE lenses, because you can use that FE lens with either Sony camera body, where it's the E-mount APS-C or the E-mount full frame. But just keep in mind, if you did go with that APS-C body, whatever lens you buy is going to be, if it's FE, is going to appear to be more zoomed. I probably wouldn't buy just the E lenses, because if you buy an E lens, whether you're putting it on a what am I trying to say? On an APS-C Sony camera body or a full frame Sony camera body, an E lens is always going to remain APS-C mode. Whereas an FE lens can go either full frame or APS-C, depending upon the camera body it's been attached to. Hope that makes sense. So in short, if you got the A7C and you got an FE lens, in essence, that one FE lens could behave two different ways. It could behave full frame, which is whatever the focal length is printed on the lens, 24 to 70, or you could kick that camera body into APS-C mode and it would behave like an APS-C lens, which will appear to be more zoomed than 24 to 70. So just a few tidbits for you there. And no, I think Sony's a great choice. And again, I'm kind of a Sony fanboy. I got turned on to it by STK's Adventure Channel. We were doing a YouTube collaboration in Bermuda, and he was using Sony at the time. I was using Canon. Canon's great, don't get me wrong, but just the ease of use for me was better with the Sony than the Canon. There's a lot of people in the Canon camp that'll say the Canon skin tones look better, and that's primarily pertaining to portraiture and interview type videos. What I've found, I don't see that. I think, with the Sony, it's on point. And inevitably, whatever type camera system you're going to use, you definitely want to make sure it can shoot in RAW, RAW, for your photos. And with RAW, put those into Lightroom. You can change the colors however you want to do it. I do that all the time with photos. I couldn't be happier with Sony. I'm sticking with Sony. And hopefully Sony sticks with the FE lenses for a long time, because I'd like to be able to just continue to reuse my existing lenses for future camera buys. These lenses were expensive, super expensive. But, again, I look at it as an investment, ROI, return on investment. And for me, for my business ventures, it made sense. So, I have no regrets about choosing the Sony system, the Sony E-mount system, in which I use are the full frame cameras. But anyway, hope that answered your questions, man. I know I kind of did an extended ramble there, but yeah, it's quality, man. That's what matters. Make your content the best quality possible, without spending too much. I mean, don't go overboard, because there comes a point to where you're spending frivolously for additional quality that people may not realize. And I caught a lot of flack for that in the beginning when 4K first started to hit the scene. Everybody's like, man, a lot of people were like, why are you filming in 4K? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to better future-proof my video content that I create today, because 4K is going to become mainstream in the future. And my assumption was correct. 4K did become mainstream. Now, am I switching to 8K now? No. I mean, that's just my opinion. I may be wrong, but I think 4K, as far as the viewing experience, the smart TVs and that sort of stuff, I think 4K is going to be the mainstream for a while. So, there's times where future-proofing may make sense in the 4K example, before 4K really hit the mainstream. But there are situations where spending more may not make sense. Like right now, I don't think doing 8K is really. And there's people that argue with that, and they say, well, they're not filming in 8K to publish in 8K. They're filming in 8K to be able to crop and still maintain 4K resolution, after they crop to fit their 4K video project. So, that's a valid argument. But that 8K video equipment is currently astronomical. And even if your company has a huge budget, maybe it's a fit for some people, in the professional film industry, obviously. But, for internet marketers, small business owners, it's probably a little bit overkill. But again, what I say is not necessarily correct. I just share my opinions openly, and if I mess something up, I'll tell you. But yeah, guys, gonna do a live show, and anybody wants to tune in, we'll try to get the studio live show on Wednesday. Done a lot of studio updates. One of the biggest updates was getting one of those things that sits on the floor, and you put your cables on it so you don't trip over it. So now I've got all of my cables, my audio cable for my Rodecaster Pro, my HDMI video input cable for my Rodecaster Pro if I want to do a screen share with my MacBook. I've got that under there. And then if I just want to do it in USB mode without broadcasting from the ATEM Mini Pro itself over Ethernet, I've got that. So everything in the studio is organized. I'm excited to get some live shows going from the studio. I know these walk and talk live shows, this is more of a, chat and ask questions and that sort of thing. Give me something to talk about while I walk. So, that, and I appreciate that. I know the experience isn't as good as watching a proper live show from a studio, but it is what it is. You don't even have to watch the video. You can just listen to the audio. And this audio, by the way, I don't have my external Rode mic or anything. This is just from the iPhone 12 Pro being handheld. I mean, it's this little phone is, I'm not the guy that's got to have the latest and greatest iPhone, but I've definitely noticed a performance boost when I switched from iPhone XR to the iPhone 12 Pro that I'm using right now, and it's 5G too, which is good. But yep. Well, guys, I certainly appreciate y'all tuning in, and we're going to do another live show soon. Shoot me any questions you may have. Facebook.com/IRX guy. Comment within this video's description. Comment on any of my videos. And by the way, just broke through 78,000 subscribers. So I'm tracking 100,000 subscribers soon. Really want to get that YouTube silver play button soon. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And don't, not only you subscribe, but tell everybody you know. And just be like, hey, subscribe to youtube.com/IRX guy. And they're like, why? And just say, well, he needs to get past $100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Barry, well done. Cool, man. Barry, thanks for joining from across the pond, sir. I appreciate it. And everybody, appreciate your viewership. I'm going to cut this one at about 35 minutes, but we'll be doing another live show soon. Got a lot of exciting stuff, especially in preparation for the holidays. There's going to be, what are the hot holiday gift ideas for 2020? What's the best technological gift? What's the best drone gift? What do you get the people in your family? So we'll be doing a lot of Christmas 2020 shopping advice, obviously taking into account, the unique situation that a lot of people are in right now. And that's, trying to find things that they can enjoy that are healthy and or educational that, don't necessarily require contact with large crowds of people, because, it's a different landscape right now, at least temporarily. So appreciate y'all's viewership, and we will have that show, and we will be talking about holiday gift ideas for 2020 and a whole lot more. Y'all be safe and have a great Sunday. See you later.